Should we go to Scotland now, where tensions are simmering after the Greens revealed they plan to vote against the First Minister, Humza Yousaf, in a vote of no confidence?
Yes, the decision follows the collapse of the SNP's power-sharing deals with the Greens yesterday, leaving Mr Yousaf in charge of a minority government.
Well, the no-confidence motion proposed by Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross, who branded the SNP leader weak and a failed First Minister.
Well, joining us now is GB News political correspondent Olivia Utley. Good to see you this morning, Olivia. And will Humza Yousaf survive this, do you think?
Well, he is just clinging on by the tips of his fingers. And incredibly, the decision, the kingmaker in all of this, is a woman called Ash Regan. Now, Ash Regan, for those of you who don't know, was an SNP MP. She went up against Humza Yousaf in the leadership election. They had a big falling out over trans rights. Ash Regan is of the J.K. Rowling mindset and was worried about the erosion of women's rights. In the end, she defected from the SNP and joined ALBA, which is Alex Salmond's nationalist breakaway party. When she went, Humza Yousaf said that she was no great loss to the SNP. But she now has a very important position, and I expect he's wishing he didn't say that. She is the only ALBA MP. She's the only other nationalist MSP in Holyrood. And because the SNP is one seat short of a majority in Holyrood, we've got to assume that the whole of the SNP will vote for confidence in Humza Yousaf. Everything now rests on what Ash Regan decides to do. If she votes to keep Humza Yousaf in, then he can cling on to his job. But if she decides to vote no confidence in him, then his position becomes completely untenable and he has to go. There are those who are saying that even if he manages to win this vote of no confidence, his position is still untenable. Next time there is a vote in Holyrood, which will presumably be quite soon, the Conservatives, Labour and now the Greens, the SNP's former coalition partners, will all vote against the SNP. The SNP will lose vote after vote and it will become impossible for Humza Yousaf to keep his job. So either way, it seems as though he made a pretty major miscalculation in ending that coalition relationship with the Greens. I don't think he quite understood the strength of feeling from the Greens. But for now, his future rests in the hands of a woman who he said it was no loss losing her from the SNP. Let's see how that plays out.
Did he have much of a choice, though? I mean, the Greens were talking about leaving anyway, weren't they? Didn't he just beat them to it?
I mean, he did. It was a sort of a bit of a question of the tail was wagging the dog in this SNP Green coalition. The SNP obviously had far more seats in Holyrood than the Green Party did. And actually, as I say, the SNP was only one seat short of a majority. And yet somehow the Green Party seemed to be sort of setting the agenda for the SNP. And again, tensions were coming out. There were all sorts of bills. For example, Humza Yousaf dropping that net zero commitment obviously really angered the Greens. And so it was a marriage made in hell, really, between the two parties. And Humza Yousaf, you could argue, had no choice. The Greens may have jumped anyway. But the way he handled the situation seems to have inflamed things perhaps more than was necessary. And there are lots and lots of people in Scotland at the moment saying that Humza Yousaf just hasn't really been a very good politician. That said, he has been dealt a very poor hand. He came in to be the Nicola Sturgeon continuity candidate, and obviously, as we've seen in the last 6 months or so, being the Nicola Sturgeon continuity candidate might not be the best position in the world right now. Now, her husband has been re-arrested. She very much is under a cloud of suspicion now. So Humza Yousaf was dealt a bad hand, but he seems to have played it quite badly.